Hey, it's Kyle, and today let's talk about how regulation increases wealth inequality and how it destroys innovation and competition. If you're someone who wants to start a business, you'll be hampered to find out that there is so much regulation out there. And I mean just to file papers, that's just the beginning. We've all been told that regulation was created to protect consumers and prevent abusive behavior from those more powerful than us. And in many ways, that's the case. But there's also a daunting consequence to all this. If you want to start a bank, you'll have to go through endless regulatory bodies, file several forms of applications which need the approval of 15 different people, and millions of dollars in advisors and lawyers. In many cases, the regulations that were created to protect consumers against these big companies were actually written by these big companies. If you increase the barrier to entry, you make it difficult for new competitors to enter the market. The true beneficiaries of this are those who existed before the increased regulation were in place. 99% or 30 million businesses in the US are small businesses. You want to talk about defending the 99%? Let's start with the true job creators of this country. 59 million people are employed by small business. That's 47.5% of all workers. And as someone who doesn't plan to or even attempt to start a business, you might not care. But for those of you who plan to do so, face a task that purposely is in place to discourage you. Believe it or not, entrepreneurs hate competition. You think giants like Amazon, Facebook, Walmart like to compete? Of course not. That's why they feign protests every time some new legislation comes around that's supposedly going to hamper their growth. Unbeknownst to many of us, they're the ones who wrote those bills or bribed those senators with campaign money. A small business owner doesn't have the money or the lawyers to influence the laws. These are the ones that are hurt by regulation. Big companies know all the loopholes to the bills they've written, so they can skirt around it. Reasonable regulation is smart because some regulation actually protects consumers and workers, but most don't. A small example of this is the requirement to place labor law posters in a visible place for employees to see. It's updated every year, so that means a small business has to buy one of those $20 laminated posters every year. What's the point if that's a law already? If that's the case, why not post every law in a conspicuous place? Pretty inconvenient. It's not like there's such a device an employee can look at to see if they're getting paid at least the minimum. Not all are that small, but some bigger regulations are just as useless. They are bothersome redundancies that require lawyers and lots of money to navigate through. Why is a cup of coffee bought at a small coffee shop more expensive than giant chains like Starbucks? It's because they've spent a large percentage of their capital on those bad policies, something that big companies don't mind spending. If you really want to talk about equality and fairness, you'll see that the very laws are unfair and unequal to those that really matter, the great middle class of America. The rich aren't the only ones starting businesses. By forcing undue regulation, you're hurting everybody. But most of all, you're hurting everyday people who are just trying to make a better life for themselves. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, so leave a comment down below. Do you think small businesses are overregulated? Don't forget to like and share this video. Remember to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you stay up to date when new videos come out. And lastly, if you're looking to start your own business but don't know where to start, read Lost in Startuplandia, Wayfinding for the Wary Entrepreneur by Keller Fitzsimmons. I'll leave a link down below. Until next time, take care of your money.